40 years, 40. That's how long Mexico had been waiting. It wasn't 40 minutes, it wasn't 40 days, it was 40 long years. Imagine carrying around a suitcase you never packed, but at every World Cup, someone quietly hands it back to you. Well, here's that round of 16 curse. On a thunderous night inside the Azteca, Mexico didn't just win a football match. They finally unpacked that suitcase and set it on fire. Yes, I'm talking about Mexico breaking that curse, and what a time to do it as a home nation. It was amazing to behold, amazing to witness this, and against another South American country. It was something unbelievable. If you haven't watched my other videos already, please go ahead and do so. This is Joji's 5 cents, and welcome back. Please like, subscribe, share, send your comments in the comment section. Put your 5 cents in, and I will try to get back to them as soon as possible. Now, on to what I was saying. If football stadiums could remember this, the Azteca would have smiled probably before the kickoff. But this wasn't just another knockout game for Mexico. This was history. Knocking on the front door, wearing that green, emblazoned with that Mexican logo, green, white, and red. Even Mother Nature seemed determined to build suspense. A lightning storm had delayed this kickoff by over an hour. This turned anticipation into pure anxiety for the Mexicans and Ecuadorians alike. Fans had already filled that iconic stadium, refusing to let the weather dampen what was supposed to be the most memorable occasion for them. If anything, it only had the atmosphere that made everything louder. And when the final whistle blew, Mexico looked like that team that spent 40 years rehearsing for this one last performance, their one last dance. And speaking about Ecuador, they went tourists at this match. This was the same side that had already stunned Germany earlier in the tournament. They arrived with that belief that another upset was possible. Instead, they walked into what felt less like a football match and more like a stadium wide family reunion where 80,000 odd Mexicans had all agreed to scream at once at the exact same time. Then, then the breakthrough came in the 22nd minute. Roberto Alvarado threaded that pass in, and Julian Quinones, a Colombian who had begotten his heritage and played for Mexico, didn't ask for permission. He absolutely lashed it to that ball, placed it into the net, not curled, not guided. He hit it with that conviction which said, enough of waiting, and the Azteca erupted, not celebrated, erupted. That was a volcano there, an Azteca volcano. 9 minutes later, Quinones decided scoring wasn't enough. He was going to be the provider as well, and slipped a beautiful ball into the path of Rahul Jimenez. And Jimenez did what experienced strikers do: one touch, one finish, zero panic, making it 2-0, just like that. The curse had suddenly looked to become very breakable. Now, here's what people might overlook. The loudest story wasn't actually either goal. It was 17-year-old Gilberto Mora. While most 17-year-olds are worrying about this exams, this lad had the nutmeg to do and post online. Mora was calmly controlling possession in this World Cup knockout match. He became the second youngest player to start a World Cup knockout game behind only one man, and that is Pele. Now, that's not company, that's football royalty, ladies and gentlemen. And when he left that pitch, the Azteca stood, because sometimes applause isn't enough. It's about what you've actually done. It's about everyone realizing they're watching the beginning of something special. To Ecuador's credit, though, they didn't quit. At halftime, they saw more of the ball. They tried stretching Mexico's back line, tried building attacks through possession. Every move was like promising, trying to unlock that back door, but with the wrong key. Sorry, Ecuadorians, couldn't say much there. Mexico stayed compact, disciplined, and comfortable. Goalkeeper Raul Rangel barely had to perform any miracles, but when he was called upon, he delivered an important save to preserve another clean sheet for R3. And then the frustration boiled over deep into stoppage time. Defender Piero Hincapié saw a red after a VAR review for covering his mouth and speaking what he spoke. No one news. By then, the game was already written. The ending was done. The red card was simply the final period of the sentence, the final full stop. But here's what makes this victory bigger than just 90 minutes of football. Mexico hadn't won a World Cup knockout match since 1986. Back then, Diego Maradona was still playing, for God's sake. There were no smartphones, no social media, no VAR. And some of the players on this Mexico squad wasn't even close to being born back then. 40 years ended in one unforgettable evening. That being said, the scary part here, Mexico still haven't conceded a goal in this tournament. Four matches, four wins, four clean sheets. Only Brazil in 1986 and Italy in 1990 had previously achieved that start at a World Cup. Now that's elite company. Social media exploded afterwards. There was fan celebration all over Mexico. The fans called it redemption. Others called it destiny. One thing everyone agreed on, the Azteca felt live again. The television commentary even went viral because the emotion pouring out of that broadcast that matched exactly what every Mexican supporter was feeling in that moment. Now here comes the real test. England await the altitude, home crowd, history, momentum, everything points towards one of the biggest round of 16 matches of this tournament. But for one night, Mexico didn't need to think about England. They didn't need to think about tactics or quarterfinals or predictions because sometimes football gives you something much simpler. It gives you bloody closure. For 40 years, Mexico kept knocking on that same door. And against Ecuador, they finally found that key. And by judging of the noise in the Azteca, they might not be finished opening doors just yet. Well done, Mexico.